All right, welcome to another episode of the Couch Coaches Podcast, where we talk about everything going on in sports. And what we get to talk about today is two horrific, embarrassing losses for both of our teams. One to the Panthers and one to the Rams. Both games going into it. I thought we were gonna be showing up today and happy and smiling, and we're both here. Not great. So, brother Bill, I'm gonna start with you and our Niners. Thoughts on the come from behind loss to the Rams?
The come from behind loss shouldn't have happened. One, I expected it to be a tough game because division rival, the Rams, winless. At some point, pride has to kick in. They've already got, the 49ers fans who take over the stadium. They call it Levi South. So at some point, I think as players, as Coach Steffi say, we're not going to let them, just kick us around again like they usually do. So they were obviously up for the game. Even though early the Niners had all the momentum in the first half, the turning point in that game, and I saw it coming, my son Billy and I were watching it when the Rams lined up the punt, and we both said, watch out for the fake punt, because there was a point in the game where it was already 14-0. They were at their own, I think, almost 40-yard line. And sure enough, they pulled off the punt, they scored. From then on, it became a game. The disappointment was the fact that the 49ers got outscored 20-7 in the second half against a team like the Rams, who were without Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Stafford just shredded that defense in the second half. The defense looked like it had absolutely no answers. There was no scheme, nothing to throw him off bounce, no disguising blitzes, nothing. Nick Sorensen, horrible job to me, and it was compounded by the lack of I don't say talent, but players just not making plays. You had players who were just a secondary, no pass rush, secondary got lit up. So all in all, with all of that, I felt the disappointment was they wasted probably the best performance that Juwan Jennings had ever had. He was balling, Purdy was balling, the running game did enough, but the defense and then the special teams, that punt, return at the end, everything that could go wrong went wrong in the second half.
Yeah, I feel like the Rams, I swear to God, the Rams do a fake punt on us every single season at some point. And you would think we just go, can we just make sure we don't get the fake punt thing? Because it seems to happen. It happens all the time. And why, after watching Mason these last few weeks, why was Mason the third string running back this whole time? Instead of you had like Elijah Mitchell that you never used, and when you use, he gets hurt. How in the world has he not been the dude? Because seems to be filling in for McCaffrey pretty well.
He is. I put part of that on Shanahan too, because once again, when you've got the ball, the clock, and the lead, you got to find out a way to keep the ball and just not give it up. And it's a repeating theme. Team comes back and they lose momentum, and fourth quarter collapses. I put part of that on Shanahan. Ayuk only had a few touches. You got to get your playmakers the ball. You got it to Juwan. I just felt like it was a game that the Rams took it because the Niners gave them an opening.
All right, and we can squeeze it. We can kind of mesh these two games together. But brother James, I'm gonna go to you. Thoughts on your Raiders losing to the worst team in football?
See, you always got to add the extra, don't you?
I just so we frame it right.
Well, they were the worst team, but this is the NFL, so everybody's any given Sunday. So you can step off my Raiders like that, but it was disappointing. It was very disappointing. Did I think we was gonna go in there and win? Yeah, I didn't think we was gonna blow them out, but I felt that we would go in and get a W. I stopped watching the game. It got to that point. We have to. I mean, I think quarterback situation is a start. Old boy, the rookie is a pocket passer, but I mean, hey, give him the ball. He's more accurate. Let him toss the rock. I just didn't see it. We didn't play our game for one at all. We just was, I think maybe they was feeling like all of us fans. Oh, well, this is the worst team in the NFL. We should go in there with a cakewalk, but it didn't happen that way. So I really don't have a lot to say. I was just very, 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 very disappointed.
Did you see anything? Were they playing differently than they played the previous couple weeks, or especially the previous week against
Well,
Baltimore?
yeah, I mean, we didn't get Devontae Adams involved enough. The quarterback he was just focusing on certain receivers, and I don't think he was doing he wasn't doing the check downs. He just wasn't cycling. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just something about him. Yeah, he moves in the pocket, but yeah, we got to do something different.
Deacon Hill, thoughts on your Raiders?
That was a hard game to watch, and after watching that Baltimore game, we were so lucky to get out of there with a W. But this Panther game was a game we should have won. We on paper and everything. You're coming off of a big win on the road, your home opener. Everything should be going your way. But a couple of things that I really noticed is the Raiders have no identity. They have no identity on offense for sure. They don't know they can't run the ball. They can't pass it consistently. The offensive line doesn't pass. It don't pass protect well. It don't run block well. So they got issues on offense, and the play calling is horrendous on offense. Also, the play calling is that Gesky or whatever his name is, the offensive coordinator. I don't know what his plan is, but he don't have one. They go for it. They go for it on when they should punt it on fourth down. They go for it. They had a 4th and 2. They call it a 1, but it was a long 2, and they run a quarterback sneak, which you got a little tiny quarterback. The guy is, he's barely 6 foot tall, and I don't think he weighs 200 pounds. And you try to run him on a sneak, and he gets stonewalled. Don't go anywhere. That's crazy to me. Then when they have a 4th and they should. I think they ran it. They ran 3 plays in a row. The running game is not existing, but they ran 3 plays in a row, and they had a 3rd and 7 and ran it again. That's what led up to that 4th and 2. Just the play calling is all over the place. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And then on the defense, Crosby, this was the first time he missed some time. He was out for a couple of plays on defense. I don't even know if I can't remember if he started or not, or he came in late. But I think something's going on with him. He wasn't that game record that he was against Baltimore. I don't know how many tackles he had, and then I'm looking at him, and it's almost, I don't want to call him a one-trick pony, but he just seems to want to crash down on the quarterback a lot, and you can run right at him. You can draw him in, and you can get wide on him. Your first responsibility as a defensive end is to contain. You got to have outside containment. He likes to crash down hard to try to get to the quarterback, and they go right around him for big gains and stuff like that. So I just don't. The defense and the offense is in a world of trouble. They better find an identity real fast, or this season's going to get away from them. And as we were talking about, the coach talking about people making business decisions and stuff like that. Come on, coach. You can't do that. You can't come. You need to take that into the locker room. Talk to your players about that. You can't go to the media and say that to the media. I think that's almost like trying to cover yourself, not really trying to take responsibility. And then at the end, he tried to say, "Oh, well, it's all of our fault. We all got to do better." Well, you need to take that all up in the locker room. You don't throw your players under the bus like that. So I had issues with that. I don't know. It could get away ugly if we lose this next game at home. It's going to be real. It's going to be a really ugly season, and a lot of things going to happen in Vegas.
Yeah, I think it's really tough for players and it seemed like this was the case in this game. I didn't watch the whole game, obviously, but like just getting beat like that against a team like the Panthers, whatever they were doing to prepare did not have the players prepared to play this team.
One thing I will say, Joe, is that when you get a quarterback, they of course they played against the Red Rocket before. But you can't really prepare for him. You haven't played him in a while and stuff like that. So it kind of throws a little bit off, but there's no excuse for it. Even after a few series, you should come up with some type of scheme to make it work.
Yeah, on defense. I mean, but even on offense, it's like what they were doing wasn't. I mean, it's like
offense don't have no identity at all. They can't run or pass.
You know why? I looked up your dude. He comes from the Bears. Bears are horrific. Bears have been horrific forever. Why would you? You would never get offense from the Bears unless you're like, is your buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of makes sense. So speaking of defense, our defense at this point is giving up a full touchdown worse than what we were doing last year, which is a huge number. Like we're giving up like 24 points. Like our defense is basically like the bottom quarter of the league right now, which is terrible. But I mean, Purdy did fantastic. Jawan Jennings, he's been our dude in like huge games on third downs for the last couple of years in like the playoffs, and he just had his coming out party. I bought his jersey in like the third quarter. I'm all fired up. It was going to be his jersey if we won the Super Bowl. Dude's throwing touchdowns. He's a freaking stud.
Y'all never had a defense.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
We did.
come on, man.
Our defense, what? Our defense is super expensive. We got Bosa. We had a defense. It's our high point was 2 seasons ago. I mean, that was our high point. We had Saleh, and it looks like probably we'll get Saleh next year, which is nice.
You know what your defense reminds me of? To use a boxing analogy, your defense is like a knockout boxer. It has a knockout punch, and you guys come out real hard and you try to knock people out, and if you can't knock them out, there's a game on.
We're kind of Tyson. Like we can hit you up front, but you can go over the top.
Yeah, if you guys can't knock them out and and put that heavy hit on it and like have them back down, then it's game on.
But it's two things. Remember, I mean, how was the defense, even going back to the Harbaugh days, how was the defense built? It was built on a strong front four, good linebacking, and a better than average secondary. Didn't have to blitz. You were able to get a push with the front four, shut down the run, made teams one-dimensional. That's been the case for over 10 years. The difference now is, and we saw it last year, when you start losing the middle of your defensive line, that chain, and you can't get a push, and you can't get a quarterback from the outside, that's when you start to compromise the rest of your defense. So the two things changed. We go through 3 defensive coordinators now in the past 3 years, and our defensive line, we lose guys to free agency. So with the talent-wise, the talent has taken a dip. No way around it. Greenlaw's absence is huge for linebacking. We don't have a replacement for him yet. And then on top of that, you got a scheme that's not working. What we did against the Jets, that seems like a season ago. Minnesota, better team than we expected. And look at, what the Rams did. If the Niners don't handle the business consistently against New England, I expect a shakeup during the season.
Yeah, but just what you're saying, the way you guys defense played against the Jets, everybody, the media and everybody's talking about, oh, you guys are just, yeah, I'm serious. You heard them.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah. What did I say? I heard one thing.
I
heard, no, well, okay, but yeah. And now all of a sudden, we lost, we got no talent. Like I said, you guys came out like that bully with the Jets. You guys bullied them, hit them hard, knocked the ball out and all that stuff, and manhandled the Jets. And then when somebody else punches you back, okay, here we go.
Like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get hit.
Well, especially with a quarterback like Stafford, I mean, there's really no place on the field that's safe that he can't get the ball to. So one throw, it's 60 yards down the field, and it's 40 yards set up for a freaking game-winning drive. And
by the time both our teams suck.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is both of our teams have been a disappointment, and now you're going to see. This is where coaching shows itself, right? And you got to have a come to Jesus meeting with, from the head coach, coaching staff, and players. The guys, we got to fix this starting in this next game, and you got to be willing to make some adjustments and hard decisions for the rest of the season. I mean, this is how it's correctable, but you don't have any more games to throw away based on the performance of the first 3 games.
Raiders got a big injury. Also, Epps, our defensive back, he's out with an ACL for the season, so they got some problems.
So to go back to the Raiders, hopefully something changed, but we're gonna end up losing Devontae Adams because we're messing up his Hall of Fame years. You know,
I'm glad you brought that up because I was at some point you got to start building. You got to start building the team out more. I mean, he doesn't. You have like a Ferrari. You have a Ferrari like in like an apartment building. Like it doesn't.
that part. I mean, because the deal of it is we, you know, it's we got to start with the quarterback. I'm stuck. I guess I'm just stuck on the quarterback thing.
Well,
But-
Minshew, you can't expect Minshew to get better, but to Greg's point, it's the identity. You got to find out, you know, again, you have to be willing to commit to the run, even if you're not getting big yards. You can average in at least like 3.5 yards a carry, and you can get quality and consistent carries through the game. Then you have a chance. But once you become one-dimensional with an average quarterback, defenses are gonna lick their top pin their ears back and just come out consistently. So just find an identity and be willing to make adjustments in game.
Especially if Crosby's hurt, he's not putting pressure on their quarterback. That's going to give you the ball back more. It like he's such a force on defense that he's just. I mean, he is a legitimate game wrecker. And if he's hurt and stuff, and he's not getting in there like he normally, or he's missing a couple of series. It's hard. It's really hard for an average quarterback to do anything when he has to be the dude.
I will say one thing. The 49ers are favored by 10 over the Patriots. I'm not a betting man, but I would take those 10 points. I mean, it feels like as bad as you figure the Patriots are, I'm always cautious about double-digit point spreads in the NFL.
It's huge, especially this early in the season.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. I mean, what
they're
they're
gonna
saying.
play the best game against y'all.
Exactly. That's my. Who? The Patriots or the
The
Niners?
The Patriots.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I think that's what happens when you're like, we get everybody's best effort. The Ravens get everybody's best effort. The Chiefs get everybody's best. I mean, the teams that hover around the top. Yeah. You have that game circled for sure on your calendar. So we've seen the last couple of years, we've seen quarterbacks that have been deemed busts go to different coaches and like their whole career changes. Like you're seeing Baker Mayfield started out okay, wasn't really good, went to Carolina, was awful, came to LA, won like 10 minutes after he landed in LA, has been successful in Tampa Bay. Justin Fields is a massive one because he was horrific the last couple of years for the Bears. Goes to Pittsburgh. He looks pretty like they're using him correctly. So whatever the adjustments are that they're doing, like he has a high percentage completion percentage. You know, he's running the ball when he needs to run the ball, but he's not focusing on that. And then Sam Darnold's out there like he looks like USC, like his junior year. So I'm interested to know if there are any quarterbacks that you've seen that either are kind of deemed busts or are deemed just not very good, not what we expected, and then which coach you would want to pair them with. Or if you can't think of a quarterback, which coach do you think has the best chance of developing pretty much any quarterback they get? Oh, I'm sorry, another example, Green Bay. Green Bay taking Jordan Love, who was just a mess. I mean, granted, he's been on the same team, but they've developed him into a real quarterback. And then what they're doing with Malik Willis. Everybody thought it was a horrible move for them to pick him up. He's crushing it with Jordan Love out. So if there's either a coach that you're like, I would get, if I were a quarterback, I'd want to be with this coach, or if there's specifically a quarterback that you want to see get with a specific coach. Deacon Hill, I'll start with you.
You know, that I was thinking about that question two different ways, because I did hear some commentators talking about, they mentioned those same quarterbacks that you mentioned, Sam Darnold and of course Justin Fields and stuff like that. But and then they compared them to these superstar quarterbacks that are losing, the Joe Burrows and stuff like that of the league. And they said, well, is it the quarterback or is it the system? Is it a team? It's a team sport. So are they just getting into a good system where they got a lot of good teammates around them that are making them succeed, or is it really just the quarterback and the coach combination? But to answer your question of the quarterback that I would like to see moved and give him another chance, is that quarterback that you guys drafted, gave up all those draft picks for.
Trey Lance.
Huh?
Trey
Trey
Lance.
Lance. And I wouldn't mind seeing him in the Raider uniform. I think that kid, I think he has some potential.
Right. But who's developing him on the Raiders staff?
We're gonna get that's a whole nother. we first you got to get. This is a quarterback driven league, so you got to start with the product first.
I think he's pretty cheap. You guys could probably get him for like a nickel right now.
I would give that nickel to get him. If there was a quarterback that I think that deserves another shot, he would be the one that comes to my mind.
Yeah, I mean, watching what they're doing in Pittsburgh with Love, I mean, not Love, with Fields. Whatever they're doing with him seems like Trey Lance is a pretty comparable quarterback to Fields. I mean, Fields is like a legit runner. Like he could be a running back kind of runner, and Fields or Lance isn't that. But their quarterbacking skills pretty similar. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Raiders, but you need a coach. Brother Bill, any quarterbacks that you see that you either think need another chance, or specifically which coach you'd want to see them go to?
Yeah. I don't know necessarily where I would want to see a quarterback go, but the quarterback I mentioned to see what the season looks like now is Justin Herbert with the LA Chargers. Now that they have a new coaching staff, to see whether or not the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach can give them an identity where they stay balanced, throwing and running the ball to take some of the pressure off. Because I don't think he's a bad quarterback. It's just that you think when Staley was there, the head coach, their offense was terrible. They just found, and the defense, they found every which way to lose games at the end. So I'm interested to see what the rest of their season look. I mean, they're 2-1. It's only 3 games in. Again, new environment. I'm anxious to see what the rest of the season looks like.
But
Herbert has never been a bad quarterback. He has talent, but can he stay healthy? He's already banged up already.
He's got a high ankle sprain too, which is like that's gonna bug him the whole season.
That's always been his problem. He got the talent, he got the arm strength, he can do all that. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, Brother James, you got a quarterback you want to see get with a better coach, or one you want to see just at least get another shot?
Don't say Derek Carr.
I thought about that one. The old Derek Carr. No,
he was the old Derek Carr at the end of that game.
Exactly.
Our rookie. I think he need a shot.
Who's your rookie? This is your third string guy?
No, I forgot his name. Just that quick.
The skinny fat guy.
No, the guy played last year. What's his name?
O'Donnell?
Yeah, O'Donnell. Yeah.
O'Connell.
O'Connell.
Yeah.
O'Connell? Aiden O'Connell?
Yeah. They were talking about putting him in, and then Pierce said today that it's going to be Minshew. I don't know what they're doing in practice, but
no, I think you have to stick with Minshew one more game, at least one more half, because you started out the season with him. You can't yank him right now, and then because once you yank him, it's a wrap. He can't come back. So now you just got to ride it all the way out. So
well, you also don't want to put in a fresh quarterback against the Browns, which is one of the tougher defenses you're going to have to go up against, because that's not a great way to start their season or whatever.
Well, if you were going to make that change, you would have made it. But I think they need to at least stick with this guy one more. Just and then when he goes, send that offensive coordinator with him and start from scratch.
Yeah, we got to find another receiver.
You're not even using Devontae.
We're gonna have to find him because he's gonna be gone. I'm telling you.
That's true. Yeah.
Hill said it all starts with finding an identity. I mean, without it, it doesn't. If you don't have an identity and a scheme, but how to attack the defense, it's not really going to matter what kind of talent you have on offense.
That's 100% true. I finally agree with you, Bill.
And that's why I say stay with your quarterback, because you got to find that identity. You got to stay with that guy.
Your identity should be Devontae Adams. That should be.
For real.
Ball to him
I'll be throwing it to him like 30 times a game.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, I think the quarterback. I think the coach Pierce was actually pointing a finger at Devontae. You see, he had a lot of drops. They targeted him a lot, and that's why I think he was really pointing the finger at about making these business decisions. So we can't just sit there and go, oh, we need to go to Devontae. I
Okay.
even seen a clip with Devontae, and I never seen this before, never heard a receiver say this, but he was like, I got to get out of here. They're going to get me killed. I've never been hit like this before. Have you guys seen that? This clip was a couple of weeks ago. He said, I'm going to get killed. My career is going to be over. And so I'm thinking that because he had a lot of drops last week, and he might be the one making business decisions like, dude, you ain't getting me killed out here. So we can't just say we got to go to Devontae, because you know what? Devontae, like, no, you ain't just going to me. You better find somebody else.
No, he hits the ball down like our dude did at the end of the game.
Ronnie Bell, yeah, I got nothing good to say.
Oh, we're gonna suit up Bill.
Explain to me how a guy can't play receiver can catch punts and kickoffs. That means he has hands. Ronnie Bell can run routes and can't catch the freaking ball.
Well, the ball's coming at a different angle on a punt return versus the pass.
I bet you Ronnie Bell would drop kickoffs.
But the key is they got to be willing to sit him down and go with either Conley, who was solid. Even he had some big catches in the playoffs last year. I mean, at this point, you need dependability to move the sticks, every drive. And if you want to put Ronnie Bell back there to fair catch punts, because I'm so concerned about his, he has this fumble tendency. Yeah, muffin punts. That's fine.
Oh, so bad. We need and what's his name? How long does it take you to recover from getting shot in the chest? Let's go, man.
Pearsall?
Yeah, Pearsall. I saw he was in practice 2 days later. Let's go, man. Yeah. Get him suited up. Two teams that had high expectations coming into the season, maybe 3. The Bengals, the Jaguars, and the Browns all had high expectations. I may be dumb, but I'm not worried about the Bengals because they have a slow start, but they have a killer offense. So if they can kind of dial in the defense a little bit, I think they'll be like a wild card team. They're not going to be winning the division. Did the Browns and Jaguars have I'm watching the Jaguars. Like, I feel like Trevor Lawrence, he's like the Jimmy G type, where he has the makeup to be a starting quarterback, but he doesn't have like the discipline to study and get better. And I think that was one of the huge things that him and Kyle butted heads about. Because Trevor Lawrence he's not getting more accurate. He's like not rating the defenses better. He's not doing anything better than he did when he came in. And he has a coach that is really good at kind of dialing in offenses. Is there any shot that the Jaguars and the Browns turn it around with what you've seen so far? I'll open that up to anybody because I don't.
I think you have to look at their schedule. The rest, throw out Sunday night game against the Bills, because the Bills could have beat anyone, including possibly the team. The Bills just looked that good, right? In all 3 phases. So look at the first 2 games, and then look at the rest of the schedule to see, where do you think the Jaguars have either an even or a matchup advantage? That's going to be the thing to look at, because, they're in a reasonable division. Houston is arguably still, the best of the division, but, they can, Tennessee and who's the other team in that division? They're, it's not a stellar division. I guess that's my point.
Oh, not at all. Yeah, but they would have to win the division. They would have to win the division. I don't see them beating.
I don't see them winning the division. And even to get a wild card, you're probably looking at, like 10 or 11 wins, maybe 9.
Tough.
But yeah. You answer your question. I think it all starts with they got to take it one game at a time and try to. They got to score some more points. Averaging 15 points a game in this league, that's a lot to ask of your defense.
Yeah, the only worst teams on offense are the Dolphins and the Patriots. Everybody else has scored more points.
Yeah, out of those 3 teams, I think the Jaguars would be in at the bottom of that list. And I'm not just going to give the Bengals a pass saying that they getting off to a slow start. When you're 0-3, who was that coach to say you are what your record say you are? So you're 0-3. You can make all the excuses you want to make. You can blame it on the defense if you want to, but bottom line is you guys haven't come out of there with a W, so they're in trouble.
So you don't think they're better than 0-3?
That you are what your record says you are. That's what you are.
and they got
So,
schooled. I like to me, I think one really good like litmus test of a defensive head coach or defensive coach, or DC, is how do you handle rookie quarterbacks? They got their butts kicked by a dude that this is his third game, and they got worked. That's to me, that's not a good sign at all.
Yeah. And when Trevor, you talk about Trevor Lawrence, I look at him like he's been this guy since college that never really, he was so much better than everyone else that he was just, just like he just had it on cruise control. So you're saying he's not developing, he's not getting any better. And I just think that he's been that guy, and he thinks that I'm already good. I already got it. Just give me some guys around me and give me some protection and let me just do my thing. And if it don't happen, it ain't because of me. It's because of the people that are around me. So that's why I see him. He just said, and that's not good, because in a professional level, everybody got to take it to another level. It's not college anymore. So,
yeah. Brother James, you see any of those three teams turning it around, or want to put them in order of who you think has a better chance or not?
Well, I would definitely put the Jaguars at the bottom. I think Cincinnati may turn around. Because I think they have the offensive power to turn it around. I just think they just, I don't know. They need to study more film, get it together.
Yeah, 0-3 is I mean, 0-3 is
It is. It's. I mean, I agree with Deacon about you are what your record is, say you are.
except for the Niners.
But here we go. I here we go. Look, I ain't fooling with you today.
Shannon Sharp said they need to stop talking on defense. They're running their mouth too much.
That part.
Who?
The Niners?
No, the Bengals. They always talking the defense that they even put his picture up today with that defensive back. He's
Yeah,
all,
because he called them a college offense and then got his butt kicked by. Yeah.
yeah.
Don't talk if you can't back it up.
Oh.
One thing I say about I think in the case of Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson, I don't know, it's a tough haul. It puts a lot of pressure. I mean, I think the Bengals and the Browns both have a better than average defense, right? I mean, they have guys but their problems are on offense.
Well, my Raiders have a tendency of making quarterbacks look like all pros, so
Deshaun may look like John Elway.
Well, y'all gonna find out on Sunday.
You know what they should do with Deshaun Watson? They should sign like a Bobby Bonilla contract with him, sign him for like 30 years, split it out so the money's really small every year, and then just get rid of him, just cut him. That's what I would do. I would sign him. Like, we're gonna pay you for the rest of your life. Just you got to get out of here. You can't take up all of our cap room. You got to go. That's what I would do with it, because I think
he might turn everything around after the Raiders next week.
Or the Raiders may trade for him.
No,
well, I don't know, because after the Raiders, he got the Commanders. They turned some heads. Then they got the Eagles, Bengals, Ravens, Chargers. Yeah, Cleveland's they gotta play the. I mean, they're in a tough division, number one, and then out of conference, they got to play the NFC. The NFC East.
Yeah,
You've already played the Cowboys, and
this is gonna cut off.
Hey, wait a minute, real quick.
Maybe
While
real
I'm talking about the Commanders, I want to shout out Allende, brother Allende. I always laugh at his team, but the Commanders look for real. Okay, Allende,